Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome to a new What If. This is going to be what if AHSOKA and MAUL went together to Mustafar to find Anakin. I think it's going to be really interesting. I had a lot of fun writing it. Not sure how long it's going to be, might be a longer one, but we're going to go through it. We're going to have fun with it. So, sit back, enjoy. Also, I might, I don't know, start streaming some stuff soon. We'll see. So, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, enjoy today's video. Order 66 has been executed. Chaos surrounds the galaxy, and the former Padawan of Anakin Skywalker is desperately trying to escape a Republic cruiser. Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex, heroes of the Republic, just hours ago, now traitors set to be executed. They race towards their escape ship in the hangar, and Ahsoka is fighting off clone after clone, Rex firing stun blasts behind her for cover, when they spot someone else running towards their escape ship. MAUL. Of course it's MAUL. He's gonna steal their ship, unless Ahsoka can stop him. "Rex, the ship," she tells him, and the two take off running behind MAUL. As Ahsoka gains on him, MAUL screams, "You wanted this chaos," and begins throwing boxes at her, using the Force. His saber is gone, he lost it on Mandalore, but he is still strong in the Force, able to throw enough boxes to push Ahsoka away and leap to the ship. As MAUL boards, he pushes the button to close the ramp, but it pauses only halfway. He looks out the window to see Ahsoka and that loyal clone following, Ahsoka forcing the ramp door open, and MAUL just decides to take off. Ahsoka sees one final opportunity. "Rex, I'm going to throw you up there. You're gonna stun MAUL as you land on the ramp. It's a long shot. It might seem impossible, but he won't see it coming," Ahsoka told Rex. Rex looked at her and simply nodded. "We've done weirder things." And Ahsoka, one hand holding up the ramp, one throwing Rex, saw him land and fire, then fire again, and the ship began to turn downwards and was about to crash, but Rex grabbed the controls and swung around to pick up Ahsoka at the last second. Ahsoka leapt up to the ship, seemingly hundreds of blaster bolts from the clones behind her, being deflected with her saber. "Okay, Rex, take off," and the three of them were off into space. "I thought you missed there for a second, Rex," Ahsoka told her. "The second shot scared me for a second," she said, trying to just lighten the mood. "I don't miss, Commander. Just thought he could use an extra shot," and MAUL lay in the corner, stunned and unconscious. Ahsoka smiled, and the two looked at the unconscious MAUL. "He may be out a while, but we need him with us. He knows something about Anakin. Something dark. He might still be on Coruscant. That's where we're gonna go first." And Ahsoka and Rex sat down and prepped for the hyperspace jump. The hyperspace trip was rather quiet, as both Rex and Ahsoka were coming down from their tragic battle on the Republic ship. They were still unsure of exactly what was going on, but they knew it was tragic. The emergence from hyperspace sent a jolt through the ship that got MAUL stirring. Ahsoka and Rex didn't bother restraining him, as he was smart enough to know that they were in this together now. As they entered the atmosphere, they saw it. The Jedi Temple in the distance, on fire, smoke coming from above, and the Force felt dark. MAUL woke up and immediately gasped, "We can't be here. We can't be here. This is where he is. Turn around, now," MAUL yelled. Ahsoka replied, saying, "MAUL, we need to find out what happened to Anakin. He won't be here either. If you want my help, you will turn this ship around," MAUL said angrily. Ahsoka hesitated for a moment, but eventually replied, "Fine." MAUL clearly knew more about this. He knew more about everything than what Ahsoka knew. She needed him, she thought. Once the ship was back in space, Ahsoka looked at MAUL and said, "Tell me everything you know. We let you live. Now tell us." "Well, of course," said MAUL. "After all, we may be the final hope to stopping it all. Darth Sidious was right under your nose the entire time, Jedi. Your very own Chancellor Palpatine was the Sith Lord, and judging from what your sacred temple looks like, I would guess the Jedi finally found out the truth. And tell me, young Jedi, Who did Palpatine favor more than anyone else? Ahsoka and Rex could not believe it, but Maul had no reason to lie. He was once the apprentice of Sidious. If anyone would know this truth, it would be him. Palpatine treated Anakin like a son, Ahsoka said, broken. Yes, and now he's a slave to the dark side of the Force. The man you knew as Anakin is gone, but only I can guide you to where he is, said Maul. And Ahsoka sat back, defeated. She couldn't be sure Maul was telling the truth, but somehow she knew. The feeling she got when it all began back on the ship. It was like a tidal wave of darkness trying to drown her. Rex put his hand on her shoulder as Maul called upon the Force. Somehow he knew of this entire grand plan. The Force was showing him things, showing him almost everything. And Maul focused in on the Force, on Skywalker. An image of fire showed Anakin and Kenobi. Maul's eyes opened in excitement. Both Skywalker and Kenobi were on Mustafar. I will kill them both, thought Maul, as he punched the hyperspace coordinates in. Ahsoka didn't know this, didn't know Kenobi was there, didn't know Maul's plan to kill both of them, but she traveled with them. And they emerged, and from space, Mustafar was a planet you just had to see to believe. The fire and lava surrounding the entire planet made it perfect that the darkest hour of Ahsoka's life would be here. Maul belonged on a place like this, the evil inside of him matching the planet's fiery surface. And the ship began to enter the atmosphere. Ahsoka couldn't feel Anakin, but she did feel power in the Force. And Maul clearly sensed it as well, as he went in the exact direction that Ahsoka was sensing. They flew over the top of a landing platform, and Maul prepared to land, as Ahsoka noticed a ship down below. Padme's ship. Maul landed, and Ahsoka sprinted to the door, where she felt something detach from her belt. Maul had grabbed one of her lightsabers. It's only fair, he said. Ahsoka didn't have time to argue. Something terrible was happening here. She ran to Padme's ship, and as she boarded, she found C-3PO and R2-D2 caring for an unconscious Padme, as Maul took off in the opposite direction. Hey, little guy, Ahsoka said to R2 in an exhausted, saddened voice. R2 beeped back in his usual way, but even he didn't sound the same. Ahsoka touched Padme's forehead, wondering what had happened when she heard a loud, evil scream. Kenobi! Kenobi, Ahsoka thought. She gave one last look to Padme and took off in the direction of the scream. Maul had found him. Obi-Wan stood on a ledge just outside of the control room. He was battling the man he'd thought of as a brother. Anakin was now consumed by darkness, and it was all Obi-Wan could focus on, until he heard a scream that haunted him. It was Maul. How was he here? Why was he here? Both Anakin and Obi-Wan turned at the same time, as Maul ignited a blue saber and walked towards them. And the Chosen One, Maul said mockingly. How perfect for me to kill you both. Your master sent me to kill you and take your place at his side, Maul said to Anakin. Maul was of course lying, as he was only trying to get under the skin of Anakin, to taunt him. Anakin looked from Obi-Wan to Maul, then screamed, Liar! And rose his saber before another voice spoke. Master! Ahsoka yelled. You brought him to kill me? Anakin yelled back, and Ahsoka was confused. There was a fury in Anakin's voice she had never heard before. Was Maul right about Anakin truly being gone? Ahsoka could not accept that. No, of course not, she yelled back. He was the only way for me to find you, to help you. Anakin, what happened to you? Enough talking, said Maul as he pushed Obi-Wan backwards and engaged Anakin in a sudden fight. He would take care of Obi-Wan later, saving the best for last. For now, he would destroy Sidious's plan, killing Anakin. Ahsoka ignited her lightsaber, jumped over to Obi-Wan, helping him up off the ground. Ahsoka, it's good to see you. We have to kill Anakin. He's become a Sith. He made his way through the Jedi Temple, killing everyone, killing younglings. Ahsoka remembered what the temple looked like on Coruscant. The fire, the destruction, the darkness. She turned to Obi-Wan. Why? Why did he do it? The Dark Lord, Palpatine, twisted his mind. I'm not sure what he promised him, but he has joined the dark side, Obi-Wan replied. Then we have to try and undo it, Master. You know Anakin. This isn't him, she said desperately. Obi-Wan looked at her. Ahsoka had hope he wished he still had, but he still agreed to try. We take out Maul, and then we confront Anakin. Ahsoka nodded, and the two ran with their blue blades to join the fight. As Ahsoka and Obi-Wan were talking, Maul and Anakin engaged in a duel so ferocious it matched the atmosphere around them. Anakin attacked first, charging at Maul with his saber, ready for the kill, but Maul used the frustration of Anakin to sidestep the attack and counter with strikes of his own. Maul had Anakin backing up to a ledge when he jumped to a narrow platform to continue the battle. Maul jumped after him and the two went at it, lightsabers clashing as sparks flew around them. The platform gave way under them as Maul struck the cords holding it up, and it landed in lava, dropping both Anakin and Maul to their knees for a second. Anakin got up. He'd had enough of this, the planet stagnant in the lava, and Maul was beyond arrogant now, thinking he could just show up here and destroy him. Anakin used the anger that was making him frustrated, but he used it to his advantage now, striking at Maul, disarming him, sending the blue lightsaber to Anakin's open hand. Maul looked at him with a fury, ferocious evil in his eyes. I don't have to win, he said. You just have to lose. And Maul caught Anakin completely off guard as he sprinted at him, slamming into Anakin to tackle him into the molten lava. It worked, and the two began to tumble down below. You lose, Master, Maul thought to Sidious. This was his moment to defeat Sidious's plan. But suddenly, as they were falling, they were frozen in the air, maybe a foot from the lava. Maul tilted his head to see Ahsoka holding them up with the Force. No, let us go, Maul screamed, as they were beginning to be lifted back up. And as Maul was distracted, Anakin drove one of the sabers directly through Maul's chest and threw him off to tumble down into the lava. A final look of defeat crossed his face as he splashed in, gone forever. Ahsoka was now joined by Obi-Wan to lift Anakin up to them. Obi-Wan had been reluctant at first, as the battle had begun to consume him, but Ahsoka's hope was restoring it in him as well, and he could only hope that he was doing the same for Anakin. What have you done? Anakin asked her when he was set down. Don't you see what I've become? I've killed everyone. Why would you save me? There was a difference in his voice now. It was less anger and more despair, sadness, regret knowing that despite everything he'd done, Ahsoka still saw the light in him, still saw the good in him, still saw Anakin. Because I know you, Anakin, she replied. You're strong. The Sith got to you, as they would for anyone in your situation. But you're stronger than most, strong enough to come back to us, to fight the darkness. Anakin, we are your friends. The Sith are using you. And a ship flew above them, Palpatine's ship. A broken, conflicted Anakin looked up at Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan spoke. You are the chosen one, Anakin. Qui-Gon know it, I know it, Ahsoka knows it. We all know it, Anakin. In some twisted way, perhaps you have brought balance, and now you must complete the prophecy and destroy the Sith. Anakin spoke. Promise me, if I come back to you, Padme will be safe. Our child will be kept safe. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka agreed in unison, and a battle plan was formed. Anakin would go to Sidious and tell him Obi-Wan was dead. He would have no way of knowing Anakin was against him, and both Ahsoka and Obi-Wan would be waiting to ambush. They parted ways, the last hope for peace in their hands. Anakin walked up to Sidious and knelt before him. Obi-Wan is gone. The Jedi are dead. Sidious waited for a moment and began to laugh, his evil cackle spreading around him. How pathetic that you think you can deceive me. And Anakin stepped back, igniting his lightsaber as Obi-Wan leapt from the shadows, but Sidious just kept laughing and shot a bolt of lightning at him, sending him flying into the ship behind Obi-Wan, dazed. Sidious now ignited his own red lightsaber. Perhaps a final lesson on the power of the Sith. And he charged at Anakin as a blur of power. Anakin engaged him, his eyes full of anger, as he was still using the dark side, but not as a Sith, rather as his own being, fighting for Padme, fighting for his child. Palpatine, though, he was calm, smiling in that evil way that Anakin saw when he cut down Mace Windu. You listen to that fool, Obi-Wan, instead of me, the one man that can save your wife, Sidious spat. I will not let her die, and I will not let you destroy everything that I am. And it was not Obi-Wan that helped me seek the truth. And a flying lightsaber caught Sidious in the leg as he stumbled backwards. The lightsaber flew back into the open hand of Ahsoka Tano. The apprentice lives. How disappointing, said Sidious, and she jumped down to join Anakin in battle. The duel began to favor the Jedi, so Sidious called upon the 10 Coruscant guards he'd brought to aid him. A rejuvenated Obi-Wan came up behind the troops as they approached, and he cut down 2, threw 2 more off the ledge into the lava. The remaining 6 turned to Kenobi to gun him down, and Kenobi knew this would be a true challenge. But then a fire of blaster bolts came down upon 3 of the troopers, catching them completely off guard. Kenobi took the opportunity to swiftly cut down the remaining 3. Captain Rex stepped onto the ramp of Padme's ship and said, "Sorry for the late arrival, Commander. The Senator is set up with all the medical supplies she needs in the ship now." Obi-Wan smiled and said, "It's good to have you on our side, Rex. Now I've got a battle to win." "That one looks much more like your style," said Rex as Kenobi took off to aid Ahsoka and Anakin. Sidious was engulfed by the dark side, using his anger at Anakin and his hatred of Ahsoka and his hatred of Kenobi to aid in this duel. But as Obi-Wan leapt into battle, it became 3 versus 1. The Chosen One, his master, and his apprentice. Sidious jumped back to observe and calculate his next moves, but he barely had time to do so. As Anakin charged forward, his blades slashing through the air with deadly precision, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan moved in to flank the Sith Lord, their own blades humming with their power. But Sidious was quick, his lightning-fast strikes deflecting their blows with ease, and the Jedi fought on, each of them flanking him, each of them powering on to destroy Sidious. Ahsoka leapt over Sidious's head, coming down with a swift strike that he barely managed to dodge, and Obi-Wan followed with a flurry of his own strikes that the Sith Lord blocked. Anakin pressed the attack, his rage fueling each and every one of his strikes. But Sidious was a master of the dark side, knowing how to defend against it, and he used his power to hurl him back with a blast of Force energy. The Sith Lord turned his attention back to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, striking at them with extreme vigor, extreme rage. The Jedi fought back. Ahsoka once again flipped over Sidious, trying the same move, and this time, her blade cut deep into his shoulder. Obi-Wan pressed forward with a relentless assault as he drove the Sith Lord back, step by step, the 2 of them waiting for Anakin to jump back in, and finally Anakin rose to his feet, eyes blazing with the fury of the dark side. But he was not a Sith. With a roar of anger, he charged forward once more, his blades carving a path of destruction, and Sidious tried desperately to block the attack, but the 3 Jedi, with the power of the Chosen One, were too much for him. The Jedi their power together was too great, and they began to truly overwhelm Sidious. And finally, Anakin saw the chance to strike a final blow. With a powerful thrust of his blade, he drove it deep into Sidious's chest. As the darkness, the evil of his eyes faded, the Jedi had won. The Sith Lord's terror was over. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka had destroyed him. The three stood there, unsure of their next move, but they had won, and they prepared to leave Mustafar. As promised, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka would not arrest Anakin. Instead, they would let him stay with Padme as they went off to Naboo to give birth to the children. They would go tell Yoda about the whole experience, and Yoda agreed to keep Anakin, the children, and Padme safe, knowing that if they did decide to go against Anakin, it might be the end for them all. He was more powerful than any Jedi, than any Sith, and he raised their children with Padme on Naboo. That's going to be the end today. The Empire, it's still on, just without Sidious ruling. You could do a little part 2 in your head if you want. I won't be doing a part 2 for this, but I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a good way to bring Anakin back, good way to incorporate Maul, bring Anakin back by Ahsoka being the one to save him from basically certain death, with Maul just tackling him into the lava almost. I thought that was fun. Let me know what you thought of the story. I enjoy these. So yeah, let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.